The well looks rather full.
Looks clean, though.
Jack Begley, along with archaeologists Laird Niven and Helen Sheldon, arrive on Lot 26 to continue searching the 900-year-old stone well for clues that might explain who built it, as well as evidence that it contains something of value.
What's our plan today?
We're gonna pump it out. And then I was thinking if you wouldn't mind scooping out the debris, but we're gonna save it on a tarp as best we can.
And hopefully find an artifact.
Yeah, if we find something that's datable down there, even better.
All right, well, let's get started.
All right, we're gonna need the...
Jenny turned on and stuff?
Jenny turned on.
I'll do that.
Okay.
The team is especially interested in the well, not only because it is one of the oldest man-made features ever discovered on Oak Island, but also because a recent water test conducted inside it by Dr. Spooner revealed high trace evidence of silver.
Here we go.
The well on Lot 26 is interesting because we've got an elevated level of silver in the water. How do you explain that?
The jet pump works really quickly.
It's been speculated before. There are constructs across the width and breadth of the island that possibly could be used as a quote-unquote bank. And you have to remember that Oak Island is somewhat remote. So where would you put something that you fancied or that you thought was precious to you? Well, you might hide it in an old well.
Jack will do the, when we get down there, the scooping.
I mean, I can already start to scoop it, right?
Yep.
While Laird works to keep the pump clear of debris, Jack will scoop the muck and detritus out of the well onto a tarp, which Helen will carefully sift through for clues once it all dries out.
I feel like I'm getting to a more gravelly, rocky layer.
Okay, good. There, now you can see it. It's actually beautifully rounded here. It's a nice round well to a certain point, and then all the angular rocks start coming in.
Yeah.
Like these up here seem quite out of place,
Yeah.
like those big ones.
Lot 26 has become very interesting. The well is as old as the 11th century. What do I do with that? But it does fit a couple other outliers on the island. We have the paved area in the swamp. We have a so-called ship's railing. So it's astounding. I can't explain it.
Oh, yeah, there's still a lot of muck down there.
There's a lot of debris.
Yeah.
It's going to kind of be a process over days to be able to clean up the water enough to pump it effectively. But I might have the answers we need at the bottom.
I must say, I've never excavated like this before.
Well, there's a first time for everything, right?
Yeah.
Later that afternoon,
Which bucket do you want to do first? That one?
Sure.
outside the Oak Island Interpretive Center, Helen Sheldon and archaeometallurgist Emma Culligan begin carefully sifting the dried spoils that were collected earlier from the stone well on Lot 26.
Nice and misty.
It's just a lot of organics.
Emma and Helen have taken the initiative to create a sifting station, if you will.
Then, for sure, there's nothing in it. Just look it over the side.
Hopefully, there'll be an artifact or two within that material. I just think there's something uniquely strange about this well, and I hope, no pun intended, that we get to the bottom of it.
I'm gonna give it a soaking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's something.
Look at that. It's definitely iron.
Looks hand wrought. The shape is really weird. Maybe a file.
Yeah, because it looks broken or torn off here.
Yeah, it does. Which is weird, unless that's the tip that's come off. But would you say that's a nail? Because I don't.
I wouldn't say it's a
think it
nail.
is. No, it doesn't look right.
So the tip right here is rounded and it seems intentional. While down here, it seems like it could have been longer. Yeah. Really sulfuric, actually.
Is it?
Yeah. Which makes it old. We're finding more and more sulfur content in iron this year. It just means it was made within a furnace of lower temperatures. So that is an indicator that it is an older iron. So just from that alone, I'm thinking around 1700s.
So maybe we should give Rick a text and see if he wants to come and see it.
All right. Okay, sent.
Okay.
So what have you found?
So we found a piece of metal that we think is not a nail.
Where's that?
So this is the piece.
It's nail-like, but we're pretty sure it's not a nail.
What do you mean it was a nail but not a nail?
So it kind of does look like a nail, but so the tip right here is rounded and it seems intentional, while down here it bends. And the fact that the tip is torn off here, so it's actually probably longer around here.
Right. So a cut nail, maybe?
I don't know. I can't be for certain because I haven't CT scanned it.
Right. So one question. I heard that in the old days, when they used nails on shipbuilding, they'd hammer them in, but they'd bend.
And clench them.
Clench them. Could that be a clench?
Oh, possibly.
Yeah.
And to me, it looks hand-wrought.
Yeah. So it is a pretty old metal.
Oh.
Age-wise, it could be from the 1700s.
Great.
A possible hand-wrought nail, potentially related to a large sailing vessel? Because machines came into use for nail production beginning around 1800, could archaeometallurgist Emma Culligan be correct that this artifact may predate the discovery of the money pit in 1795? If so, just when was it made? And how might it be related to the 900-year-old well that it was found in on lot 26?
And the material itself, it's like pretty heavy.
Right.
You can see from the patina that it is rust. It's the main ingredient, but it's also in pretty good condition. Like the rust itself, there's not much buildup of it.
Right. Doesn't really surprise me much. Metal should last almost forever in that muck.
Yeah.
You'll have to finish going through this, I would assume, then put it in the CT scanner and see what it says, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, at least there's stuff to date that's human-made.
Yep. We'll wait and see what the machine says about that iron.
Yeah.
This certainly would be a candidate for a further investigation to allow that little item to possibly tell us a story. Okay, well, we'll let you continue with your work.
We have another bucket to go.
Good.
So, yep.
Okey-doke. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, see ya.
Yep.
Approximately 50 miles northeast of Oak Island in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Brousseau.
Peter Fernetti, Oak Island historian Charles Barkhouse, and archaeometallurgist Emma Culligan arrive at St. Mary's University.
So what are you bringing in today?
We have a couple interesting finds.
They have arranged to have chemist Dr. Krista Brousseau analyze the mysterious iron artifact found one day ago in the stone well on lot 26.
So this was on the top layer of the well.
So yeah, obviously iron.
It could be some form of file.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, one thing you'll notice is it has a sort of rectangular shape, which is quite characteristic of hand-wrought nails. So I'll take a small sample of this one.
Okay, sounds great.
All right.
Lot 26 is one of the most unique lots on this island, so I'm always hopeful that we get that pre-1840s no manganese results. That sample is set then?
Yep. All right, we're ready to have a look at these samples and see what lot 26 has to tell us today.
All right.
Let's go downstairs.
You can find all the artifacts you want. At the end of the day, they have to tell a story. We need to try to figure out a timeline. How old is it? There's potential here to uncover a mystery.
Hey, Sean. How are you doing today?
Hi.
I've got some visitors here.
Assisting Dr. Brousseau is her colleague, Dr. Sean Yang.
Sean, we've got 2 samples to look at today.
Okay.
In order to analyze the artifact samples,
The first one we'll look at is the bush site.
Doctors Brousseau and Yang will use a scanning electron microscope, or SEM. By magnifying objects up to 200,000 times their actual size, The SEM can identify not only the chemical composition of the items, but also help determine their age and geographic regions of origin.
So there we have a nice piece of iron. No manganese, so again, we do use that as a marker that it's pre-1840, most likely. It does look like an older iron.
That pre-1840 is good for us because we have Carmen who kind of gave us the general idea that it's 1650.
So I would say that's consistent.
With these artifacts that we're finding, I think it just speaks to itself that there's activity that happened on this lot prior to any inhabitants being on Oak Island. It's nowhere near the money pit. Question is, what were they doing there? And you know, were they depositing something? Was that an access point or was it an exit point?
Yeah.
I think Lot 26 still has a lot of secrets for you guys.
Yeah. We have some really good information to share with the guys back on the island, so thank you, and hopefully we'll be back in the future.
There you go. You're welcome. Take care. Thanks a lot for coming
Bye
in.
now.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Come on in, Bill.
Probably about here. All right.
Rick and Alex Lagina, along with Billy Gerhardt, arrive on Lot 11, near the northern edge of the triangle-shaped swamp.
I'd work from the outside in so we don't tear it up.
All right.
Having been given the location of a reported buried well by Tom Nolan, they are eager to excavate the feature and look for clues that might help solve the 228-year-old mystery.
Another little mini treasure hunt for you, Gary.
Oh, wow.
As you well know, Fred did not have a metal detector.
No.
He wasn't, a proponent of that. So we may find something here.
Okay.
First, let's figure out the extent of the well and then go from there.
Yep.
As Billy Gerhardt removes muck and earth in an effort to uncover the well, Gary will scan the spoils for signs of artifacts and potential valuables.
Going in. Oh, I just about sweep over with my metal detector.
Oh, yeah.
The rose head. It's a beauty as well, look. These are old.
Yeah.
Look at that, look at the head on it.
Yeah, it's rosehead for sure.
Imagine, last person to touch that before us.
Might have been the person who dug that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A rosehead spike, meaning that it was hand-forged sometime prior to the discovery of the money pit in 1795? But if so, how might it be related to the buried well that Fred Nolan discovered here more than 4 decades ago?
Brilliant. Oh my God, that's a thing of beauty.
And in the top couple feet, too.
Yeah,
Question is, what would you be doing here to necessitate using that?
yeah. It is a really old iron fastener.
It's not only is it a fastener, it's a big fastener, right?
Yeah, no, this is, you'd think tunneling or shafts.
Yeah, yeah.
A beautiful find. I'm gonna bag it and I'll recheck the spoils here, see if we've got any more.
Perfect. I don't know what to make of the rosehead spike that's in close proximity to the hidden well. We have found those in the money pit. We have found those in Smith's Cove. We know for certain have been highly manipulated by the hand of man. So that's interesting and intriguing in and of itself.
Nothing yet.
So are there other structures in proximity? There may be. To what end? We don't know quite yet.
Think there's a piece of iron here? Looks like it could be modern though. Oh, maybe I am wrong about that. It's singing. Oh, look what we got. Look at this. The hook. An old hook as well, by the look of it. Maybe it was a hook connected when they were bringing the water out the well.
Yeah?
Well, that could be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks really old. That's an hand-forged hook.
Yeah, you can kind of see the striations on the tip,
Yeah.
the point.
We have found another hook on the island. Do you remember that bunk hook that Carmen ID'd us from 1600s? Same date range would be nice, or even older.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, the hell is that?
Earlier this year, while investigating Lot 8, less than a quarter mile to the west, Gary and Marty Lagina unearthed a 17th century bunk hook, a tool specifically designed for lifting heavy cargo.
Another good candidate for the lab.
Yep.
Is it possible that Gary has found a similar artifact near the reported buried well?
And of course, we'll show it to Carmen Legg and hopefully he'll know what this was used for. All right, I'm gonna bag it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I say keep digging, Bill.
Yep.
But I just don't understand that Tom said you'll see the stones. Problem is there's no rock. There's no rock.
There doesn't seem to be a well.
No.
To me, this looks like backfilled stuff.
Well, it's not a stone to be found.
No.
Nothing on this side at all.
Okay. We're done. So I think what we'll do is bring Tom in and see what he says.
If there's a well, I think, unfortunately, it could be deeper, but we're below Tom's 2 feet now.
All the more reason to stand down and see if Tom has some answers. We have to get more information from Tom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back at it when Tom gets here.
Yep. Okay. You've got to be patient in this place.
Yep. Carmen, mate, thanks for coming out.
No problem.
Gary Drayton and Billy Gerhardt meet with blacksmithing expert Carmen Legg at the Research Center to get his analysis of the iron hook that was recovered from the area 2 days ago.
We were excavating this area where there's an old well at the side of the swamp. This is one of the artifacts we found. It's a hook, but it's like unusual, the way it's long and closed in, and hopefully you can shed some light on that, mate.
Kind of remind me of a block and tackle, you know, it's a long...
Yes, right. You can see how it's a fairly long shank here. You're right, Billy, this is from a block and tackle. The reason why they had a long shank was because it would hang naturally down from a block and tackle.
Yeah.
Originally invented by the Greek scientist Archimedes in 250 BC, a block and tackle is a pulley device used to manually raise and lower large, heavy objects.
This was made in such a way that it would come off easy and go on easy, so it was a fast operation happening here, lowering and raising something.
Well, it is a well. Would it have been a hook for lowering a bucket into the well, up and down?
No, this was for something heavier. This is much heavier, yeah. You wouldn't use something like this. And I can sort of see how thin it is down at the bottom here. So that indicates that it
was
had a lot of use, a lot of use. Might have dragged something over the ground and then raised it and lowered it.
Any idea on an age of this artifact?
Again, it is very old, Gary. Hooks in the later time period are more round or not elongated like that. So if a hook like that used on a block and tackle, we're talking about 1650 to about 1690, no later than 1690.
Wow, that's brilliant.
A hook used for lifting heavy cargo and dating to more than a century prior to the discovery of the money pit in 1795?
Wow, that is massive. That's a big boulder.
3 years ago, while investigating a curious formation of boulders at the so-called Eye of the Swamp, which is located less than 100 yards from the site of the reported buried well, the team uncovered backfilled organic materials that Dr. Ian Spooner dated to 1680.
Yeah, that's some history in that well.
Yeah.
Is it possible that the well was built by the same people who were digging at the Eye of the Swamp? And if so, could this hook offer evidence that the well may have been used to hide cargo of great importance or value?
There was some activity involved with that well. At one time, it was used in that well area.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, talking about hooked, that's got me hooked up, mate. All right, mate. Thanks for coming out. Really appreciate it.
Very good. See you later.
All right, mate.
Thanks, Carmen.
See you.